day, everyone, and welcome to the Pop Culture News here on The Experience. There's a lot of interesting things happening right now, so let's dive right in. We get the latest news straight from the horse's mouth this time, or rather by way of Collider, but they're reporting that Breaking Bad and The Mandalorian star Giancarlo Esposito will finally be joining the MCU. Now, he was doing a panel down at CCXP, and the actor revealed he would be appearing in a Marvel project, but not in the role that many fans have talked about for him. He's been fan casted for a while now as being the new Professor Xavier for when Marvel brings the X-Men into the MCU. But Esposito said that he would be coming sooner rather than later, and it would be better than you can imagine. Now, of course, the next Marvel film is Deadpool and Wolverine, which could easily put Esposito into just about any role. But the hope is the actor who made his name for himself playing villains like Gus Fring and Moff Gideon will actually be someone of consequence in the MCU. So I know I showed a picture of him to my girlfriend, and her response was, he could definitely be the new Kang. So I love that idea. All right. If you're watching X-Men 97 series on Disney Plus and noticed a familiar wall crawler in the final moments of episode 8, it's exactly who fans think it was. Now, near the end of the episode, Tolerance is Extinction Part 1, we get to see various characters reacting to the lights going out through the city, and this is all caused by Magneto. Now, one of the people reacting, of course, is Spider-Man, and fans begin to wonder if this would be the Spider-Man from the Spider-Man the Animated Series, which was running from 94 to 98 around the same time that the X-Men series was. Well, former showrunner, or how do you put it, Bruce DeMeo, who was the showrunner for the first 2 seasons and got fired, he confirmed it by saying it is indeed that Spider-Man. Now, while this Spider-Man had no dialogue, so it's not like we could tell by who's voicing him or stuff, if it's the same actor from back then or not. But it's interesting because in the second season of that Spider-Man animated series, Peter Parker interacts with the X-Men, and the voice cast from the X-Men animated series did the roles in the Peter Parker, or in the Spider-Man one. So it does seem that they exist in the same universe. Maybe we'll get a Spider-Man 97. Also, we've been seeing stuff like the Daily Bugle and other Spider-Man references already, so it makes sense. All right, moving on. At 93 years old, William Shatner has told the Canadian press that he would be willing to return to the Star Trek franchise as long as it's stellar storytelling. See, he was out promoting the new documentary, You Can Call Me Bill, and he said that it would be an intriguing idea, though it's almost impossible, but it was a great role and so well written, and there was a genuine reason for the characters appearing, I might consider it. So now the last time Shatner wore a Starfleet uniform was 30 years ago in Star Trek Generations, and his character dies. Now, the actor was quick to point out that there's a company he works with called Atoy, that specializes in the de-aging technologies. You could knock 10, 20, 30 years off of somebody. So he kind of likes the idea. And he did suggest a scenario where Kirk could come back saying, a company that wants to freeze my body and my brain for the future might be a way of going about it. We got Kirk's frozen brain here. This is a scenario. Let's see if we can bring back a little bit of this, a little salt, a little pepper. Oh, look at that. Here comes Captain Kirk. Now, as much as I think it's interesting that he's got these ideas, he wants to do it, salt and pepper for a resurrection, we can see now why Kirk was never a science officer. I can already hear McCoy going, I'm a doctor, damn it, not a short order cook. All right. Normally, the first weekend in May is a big one for the box office, huge, where we usually get the latest Marvel movie, a DC movie, something to get butts in the theaters. But with all the delays happening, and we're only getting one Marvel studio film this year and nothing from DC, this weekend was left open for a new franchise to jump in and take that slot. It didn't happen. The Ryan Gosling Emily Blunt film, Fall Guy, opened up short of estimates. It was estimated to be in about 35 million range. It came in at 27 million. The total box office for the weekend was only 73 million, down 55% from last year when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 opened with 118 million on its own. Now, this is, that's how a summer schedule is supposed to launch, not with this little wimpy entrance like we just had. I mean, the second highest movie of the weekend was Star Wars The Phantom Menace with 8.1 million, which includes 300,000 from a series of marathon screenings over the weekend to celebrate May the 4th. Though one also has to look at the star power, because you look at Ryan Gosling and there's only 2 movies he's ever been in that opened higher than The Fall Guy. One of them being Barbie, and I don't think many people went to go see Barbie for Ryan Gosling. And the other being Blade Runner 2049, which I also don't think a lot of people went to go see Ryan Gosling. So the fact that this was his starring role just kind of tells us this is what this guy can do. Also, the movie's getting positive response. It's getting an A- cinema score, a 90% positive on post tracks. So maybe the word of mouth will help bring it back around. One thing I noticed in the marketing is they didn't use the old theme song from the TV, and I tried to figure out why. So I went out and looked, and they did do a remake of the theme song. I want to say it's Trace Adkins. I don't remember off the top of my head though. But they had to rework the lyrics of the song. They took all references out to actual actors because the original one talked about Burt Reynolds, Robert Redford, Cheryl Tiegs, Farrah Fawcett, Raquel Welch. And so there's none of that in this one. And it's just not good. So the fact they didn't use the new version of the theme song, the lyrics are just bad. So, all right, let's move on. In recent revelation, it has been disclosed that Kevin Feige, president of Marvel Studios, passed on Ryan Reynolds' first pitch for Deadpool. Now, this, of course, was fueled by Feige's uncertainty over just how to bring Daredevil into the MCU. Now, Reynolds came out and said that his original pitch was kind of a Rashomon story about Wolverine and Deadpool told from 3 different perspectives. Reynolds explained that the approach aimed to create a large-scale movie with a unique narrative structure. However, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige turned it down. Now, he said that, again, his ongoing efforts to integrate Deadpool in the MCU and his focus on incorporating mutants and the X-Men were kind of the primary reasons for the rejection. But he admitted that he was still uncertain of how to do it, how to bring it all together. But he emphasized the need for Deadpool's integration to go beyond simply playing the hits and fit into the broader vision of the MCU. Now, despite rejecting Reynolds' specific pitch, Feige has praised Reynolds' creativity, acknowledging him as an idea machine who presented numerous other concepts for consideration. So he was just spitballing, throwing ideas, and finally they found the one that stuck. So, okay, now we're going to get to the big story, the one that James Gunn put up a picture today, or yesterday, depending on when you're watching this. And it is an image of David Corenswet, the new Superman, in Superman costume, sitting in a chair, putting his boots on, as there is a giant ball of energy in the sky behind him, and what looks like it may be 2 people trying to fight it. It is a very unique image. First thing, it's not AI. This is a legit release. Gunn put it out, David Corenswet put it out, DC Comics put it out, or DC put it out. So this is a legit unveiling of the costume. The costume itself is different. It's dirty. It looks like he's been through a lot of battles. It's got the high collar. It looks like it has the trunks, but it's hard to tell because this isn't your normal reveal angle. This is not the big Superman pose with the hands on the hips and chin up. This is a very human picture of Superman looking dejected and exhausted and just trying to get the strength to go back out and go back to fighting. You know, like I said, there's scars and damages across his tunic. We get the newer S. We it's. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. I look at David Corenswet and I think Superman right now in this image. I look at the costume. I think Superman. I look at the scene behind him. I see, well, that's getting interesting and it's going to be a big problem. So this pays off. It does what it wants, but it also goes towards the theme that Gunn wanted to do, which is how does Superman balance the Kansas upbringing he had with his Kryptonian heritage? How do you merge those two things together? You're an alien on another planet, but you were raised to be a good person. And how do you find that common ground? So I think in a lot of ways, this movie is going to humanize Superman. It's going to make us see him for how he was raised, the nurture rather than the nature. Also, the big ball of energy behind him shows that there's a threat. And it's hard to tell. Some people seem to think it's Supergirl and Green Lantern fighting the ball of energy back there. Some think might be Brainiac. It could be something created by the engineer. It could be Hawk Girl out there. It's really hard to tell. But the city looks cool, even though it's a little blurry because of the angle. The lighting is really interesting. But there's a mood to the picture. It's not your average, everyday costume reveal. And I think it works for that. I think there's something strong about that because we know Superman's a hero. Nobody at this point doesn't know who Superman is. Nobody is looking at Superman for the first time going, I wonder what his story is. I think we can assume that the majority of people in the world know who or at least that would be going to the movie, know the basics of Superman. His powers, he's from another planet, it got destroyed. They know the basics. So I don't think Gunn is trying to play to those basics. I think he's trying to play to the humanity of Superman and trying to make him a character for the modern age by leaning into how he was raised and the things he has to deal with and getting an understanding of trying to meld those two things together. So I think in a lot of ways, this isn't necessarily a great costume reveal. It is a good character reveal. I think there's a lot more emotion and a lot more depth to what we're going to see. And you see it in David Corenswet's face. You know, he's weary. He's battle weary at this point, but he's still going back out there. The costume itself, it's got little cutouts and stuff, or whatever you want to call those. It's not super vibrant, but then this is a weirdly lit panel or a picture. So I'll be interested to see what the costume looks like in full. Again, it looks like he's got the red trunks on, but it's hard to tell. But you go online and it's everything from, oh my God, that is the greatest costume ever, to he looks like a cosplayer. You should bring back Henry Cavill. I don't know why people can't go, oh, so that's what you're going for. Can't wait to see it. That's where I'm at. So, all right, guys, that is going to be it today. That's the news. Remember to stick around for Minute to Skim It and Mint Hunter. Henri is off tonight. He's going on vacation. So tune in next week to see if he's tan or burnt, and have a great night. Take care.